Hello, welcome to the Scale Model Club, and on this week's show we have Airfix's Folland Gnat from the RAF display team, the Yellowjacks. Sit back and enjoy. Okay, so as usual we start with the cockpit, cutting the pieces from the sprue, clearing off any flash or any sprue nibs with your knife and your sandpaper, and then gluing the pieces together with some extra thin cement. Thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you all like and subscribe. So as you can see, so it's a nice start to the video, and as you can see, it's a nicely detailed cockpit. Twin seats, not bad at all I thought, quite nice and easy to put together, bit fiddly in places but not too bad. Now these bits were a real pain to get fitted, so we'll speed this bit up as well. I just couldn't work out which way they went round, which way they should be, which bits should be cut off or sanded, or oh, they were horrible. Whichever way I put them on, I couldn't get them to sit nice. So I got them the best I could and carried on. Next down to the undercarriage. This is a nice idea for the undercarriage. You get the the undercarriage bay as a part, bit of flash on it, not too bad, and then you stick the undercarriage, whatever you want to call the bit the wheels attached to, and that sticks to it. The hole was a little bit on the small side, so I did have to sort of dig that out a little bit to get it to fit, and then obviously you stick that to the fuselage, which is a nice way around of doing it, I thought. And finally, the channel's reached 100 subscribers. Thanks to everyone for subscribing and watching my videos. It's a big milestone. I know everyone else is on like 100 million subscribers, but the channel's only been going for about a year, so really pleased that people are enjoying my content. So yeah, I had to have a quick check round to make sure everything was alright. That bit's alright, it's the hole that was just covered in a little bit of flash. Be careful everyone with the knives when you're doing this, I hate to have people cut their fingers off. But it was a nice idea, put the landing struts into the landing bay and then glue the bay on. Because usually you're trying to stick a landing strut into a little tiny hole that's on the side inside the aircraft. I didn't, and also if you wanted to, you could also paint these separately. It's a lot easier to paint all these separately if they're away from the aircraft. But being as it was supposed to be all one colour, I wasn't too bothered. It's a nicely moulded model. There wasn't much flash on it at all. Nice panel lines. It was a nice model altogether. I just found it a little fiddly to go together. Never built one before, so that might have just been me. So that's the undercarriage being glued into place. So we've got the undercarriage glued into place and the cockpit all done. The next thing would be to put the cockpit in and close the fuselage up. So we are going to paint it all. This is Vallejo's undercoat, which also doubles up as, I think it's ghost grey, which is what most jets are painted. But looking at a lot of photographs of the Gnat's cockpit, it's painted in a grey colour anyway. So we're going to undercoat and paint grey the cockpit and all the interior parts of the two fuselages. Air pressure's on about 10 psi, maybe 1.2, and that is a 0.2 needle in the airbrush. And I thought, while I'm here, I'll just undercoat everything. So that's everything undercoated. The next step is just going to be painting the seats in an olive, sort of a, I think it's actually an olive drab, so it's a greeny drab colour. And that's just the cushions that's on the seat, so the inside, so the rest of it stays grey. So that's the seats, nicely coloured green, cockpit's grey. I think the next step must be to fit the decals on the cockpit instrument panels. Let's see how we do that. Okay, so that little tub there's just water, that's all I've got in it, but it's warm. I always use warm water because it seems to get the decal off the backing sheet a lot quicker. So we just dip it in the water for about 10 or 15 seconds. Let's dip this one in as well, get two of them going, because obviously there's the two seats, so we've got two cockpits. Wait until this slides around on the backing paper. I don't normally do this, but as soon as it was in a bit of a difficult place, I decided to take the decal off with my tweezers, the decals in the tweezers, carefully just place it onto the cockpit. Sorry, my hands are in the way. And once that's on, I'll just give it a quick dab with the Mark Fit Strong to let it settle down and glue in. So that's the cockpit finished. Next thing is we're going to give it a wash. So this is Army Painter's acrylic dark tone wash, and I'm using it a little bit like a filter, so I'm just going to paint everything, let the wash get in all the nooks and crannies, and then wipe it clean with a cotton bud to make the cockpit look used. It's not bad, this Army Painter stuff. I've got it. It has its plus and minuses. It doesn't seem as aggressive as the MIG ammo stuff, although the MIG ammo stuff is a lot better if you want to do panel lines and dirt and real grubby stuff, whereas I find this is a little bit more subtle. You just have to be a little careful with it because you can wipe it off just as quick as you can put it on. So you can see it a little bit better on here because obviously it's easier to see than the cockpit. But literally it gives it darkens down the whole colour of the grey on the inside. And if you give it a couple of minutes and just wipe over it with a rag, or I do it with a cotton bud, you'll find you get rid of some of the pools and it's just left with dark shadows. Right, so I think you'll find that is all the painting done. Stick the two halves together, hold in the middle. I run the glue along the gap. So find myself a peg just to hold everything together. Obviously I've left it a long time for the primer to go off properly, otherwise you're going to end up pulling the primer off with the pegs. So I'm going to do the front and the back. And as you can see, you can get in the middle. So once I've got the peg on the back, I will then glue the middle from the inside. Let the glue do the work and find the gap. Oh, ding! At least that's a peg. Normally that's a really small piece of plastic that you never find again. So yeah, so now I can run the glue down the centre, and I'll do it from the inside after I've pegged that as well. So next job, fitting the wings on the top. I did struggle with this, they just didn't seem to fit very well. I don't know if it was me, how I've put those fuselage together, or what, but it just didn't. It was another one of those parts that didn't quite fit in the hole properly. Just took a bit of mucking about. And if I'm honest, I'm not 100% sure it fitted properly when I finished, but it glued down. It looked okay, so I left it there. There's also a part on the undercarriage that's in between the rear wheels, and I'm not 100% sure why it's an extra piece, but it fits in between the two wheels. So I don't understand why Airfix just didn't mould it into the fuselages, but that was also another part which didn't want to fit in the hole. So the next thing we're going to do is mask up the cockpit, and I'll mask it up, we'll speed it up a little bit so you can see how I do it all, and then we'll move on. Obviously put the tape down the first line and use this cocktail stick. So yeah, flatten the edges down with the cocktail stick and then cut them with your hobby knife just around the edge. You just have to be really careful you don't cut your hands. Always make sure you have a nice fresh blade when you're doing this. So that's my cockpit mast. You'll fit this to the aircraft using some contactor clear from Revel. Not 100% sure I like the Revel stuff, but I've got a big bottle left to use before I go back to finding something else. So because this one is so small, I'm going to try something new. Sometimes I do the panel lines with a 4B pencil, but these are actually watercolour pencils, so you get them slightly wet and it's almost like painting the panel lines. This is just a first quick coat of yellow. Then I'm going to draw the panel lines in with my watercolour pencils, and then we'll do another couple of coats of yellow over the top just to dull the lines down. But yeah, you can draw it on like this so it goes around the panel lines, and then if you just dampen a cotton bud and wipe them over, you can get them to look a little bit like an airbrush line. And then just obviously I'm going to go over the whole thing again with some yellow just to bring the yellow out and make sure the panel lines are as less pronounced. And this is obviously Tamiya's yellow, whatever the first yellow one is, XF 2 or 3 or something. Can't remember what I got it for. I got it for another job and thought, oh, that'll do. But I like the colour, came out nicely. The only thing I really would have liked was to do a gloss coat. Just on another note, thanks very much for everyone for liking and subscribing and watching my videos. Please comment if there's anything you want to see or you don't want to see, or there's anything I'm doing wrong. Stick a comment on. I'll always read a comment, whether it be good or bad. So yes, the one thing I don't have is a gloss. So I usually put a clear coat on before I do any kind of panel lining, which everyone seems to use a gloss, but I haven't found a gloss that I really like using yet, so as soon as I find one I'll let you all know. And then I'm not sure I filmed it, but after I did this, I let this dry, I masked up the tail fin and painted the tail fin, because that's obviously got to be black. There we go. So yeah, I masked it up and then really carefully painted the tail fin without getting black all over the rest of the aircraft. Turned the pressure down on this one. I can't remember what it was, so I did it by ear, but I turned it down so that I didn't. So that you have to put more paint on as such, but it doesn't go everywhere. I'm relatively new. I know I've been doing this for a year, but I am relatively new to airbrushing, and you get better and better as you do it. And I think that's pretty much the painting done. And after doing that, I covered the whole thing in, like I said, the clear coat. It's just a clear coat. It's probably more of a satin, but so now cut the decal off the decal sheet, dip it in your water, warm water. A lot of people put a little drop of fairy liquid in there. The only reason people tend to do that is because it gets rid of the surface tension, but seeing as I hold it under with the tweezers, I don't really need to do that. And then just leave that to for the decal to become loose from the backing paper. Start with the next one. This one's quite easy because I decided not to put the fuel tanks on the bottom. So once they become loose, that's got it, see? Nearly put the glue on. No, Mark Fit Strong. Sorry, that's just Mark Fit, not Mark Fit Strong. I haven't used Mark Fit Strong, but I like this stuff. So I put a little bit on the wing. Slide the decal onto it, and that will help that decal settle down and suck itself into all the little recesses and make it look like it's painted on. So get it in the right place. I then use a cotton bud to mop up the excess and let it dry. So, get the last decal on. Get them Mark Fit over the top. That's like an all-in-one setting solution, like your Microset and Microsol. This is all in one bottle, and I really like it. It works really nicely. So, last but not least, I've got the wheels painted separately and put on the aircraft. And now we'll just take off the masking and we're all done. So thanks everybody for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and come back next time for another model. Got a few projects on the go, just not quite sure what to do next. This was just a little interim model because it was small and easy to do after the big diorama we did, but I've got a few ideas. Let's see the finished project. Thanks everybody for watching, and I'll see you next time.